So I'm going to talk a little bit about sort of like the notion of proudness and what that means and how we use that in our learning assistant pedagogy course. We encountered the notion of proudness through a white paper that Angela Little had written. I'm forgetting the exact newsletter where it went into. But the basic idea was that how do we create opportunities for people to feel pride in their work, and then in order, if we want to have people to have these goals towards what they want to feel proud in at the end of some duration of time, how do they collect artifacts so that they can document their own growth towards these proudness goals? Okay. So that's what the article was. For the learning assistant pedagogy seminar, one of our goals was that we can expand what counts as success, both for the peer educators and for the students of the peer educators. So the peer educators, remember, are working in an engineering design course. And in the engineering design course, some of us were dissatisfied with the emphasis on being able to finish the project, being able to, say, win a competition. And we wanted to expand what counts as success in that space. Right? And so success could include, successfully navigating team dynamics, innovatively navigating setbacks that are bound to arise in an engineering design process. And, sort of like regarding navigating those challenges as something to be proud of, right? Even having fun while doing engineering as something to be proud of, right? And so how do we do that? And we thought that if we can make the expanding notions of success as one of the goals in the pedagogy seminar, then maybe the peer educators, the learning assistants, would be able to help the students in the engineering design course do the same thing. And one of the tools by which we thought this could be achieved was to read Angie Little's proudness article and have a discussion on it, both in terms of what do the peer educators want to feel proud of as peer educators, but also what are the kinds of things they want their students to feel proud of. Right? And for a bunch of the learning assistants, this article really struck a chord, both in terms of thinking about what are the kinds of things that I feel I'm growing as a peer educator, and what are the kind of markers that I should document in my growth journey. And some of these ended up in a portfolio that the peer educators, the learning assistants, created in the pedagogy seminar. So at the end of the seminar, they created this presentation with a few slides showing their journey across the semester, maybe their first day as a peer educator, but also showing how their relationship with the team evolved, or some artifact that they created as part of the course and as part of their teaching that they feel really proud of. So they were documenting their own proudness, their own growth. Right? But the thing that was really surprising was that some peer educators took it into their own classrooms and really started engaging the students in dialogues of proudness. And so this happened in my own classroom, where we were meeting with all of the engineering design teams individually to very early on in the semester, to give them a chance to ask questions to us, to the learning assistant and to me, who was the instructor in the class, and also to get to know us, and so on and so forth. And the particular learning assistant I was working with in that in the engineering design course, who was also taking the pedagogy seminar, suddenly started asking the teams, I want you to really articulate what do you want to feel proud of at the end of the semester? What are your proudness goals? And, as an instructor of both the pedagogy seminar and the engineering design, like that's like a proudness moment for me, but also like my jaw dropped that she could articulate that question so well and engage students in addressing it. It was an eye-opener that this can happen. And then at the end of the semester, we visited again, like, what do people feel about their proudness goals? Do they think they achieved it? Do they think they not achieved it? I think we didn't do as well in asking people to collect artifacts. Though people do take pictures and videos of their work, but they could have done a little bit more. So this semester, we have introduced another revision to highlight this really productive and powerful idea of proudness more in our course. So I'm working with the same peer educator again in the engineering design course. And so what we did was we gave a homework assignment which was team-based. And so there were two kinds of things to happen. One is the team needs to go and do something social together and then report back, just a couple sentences on whether they did it and how did it go, right, very early on in the semester. And then the team as a whole also needs to meet and sort of like articulate what are the things that they want to feel proud of at the end of the semester. Okay. For the first one, I had thought that people will only write a couple of sentences on what kind of social activity they engaged in. But what ended up happening is that 3 of the teams took pictures of them doing some social activity and then handed that in. In some sense, they're already starting to generate artifacts towards team dynamics and their relationships they're building within the team. And then almost every team noted their proudness goals to include building these human relationships, to include aspects like all of us want to learn something that we didn't enter the course learning, which is a great thing, which is different from saying I want to get an A in the course, which is different from saying I want to get my engineering project working. It is saying I want to learn something that I didn't enter knowing in advance, right? And so that assignment essentially became an opportunity for us to write comments. And so in the comments, we have started asking students, what are the kinds of artifacts you would want to collect on the way in order to address this proudness goal and that proudness goal and that proudness goal, and then add some of our own suggestions to the kinds of artifacts they could be collecting, right? And we want to do more this semester in sort of like periodically revisiting these proudness goals to see whether we as instructors are doing enough to create opportunities in the learning environments so that students can meet their proudness goals. Right? And another nice thing was midway through the semester, the students have to make a presentation for their preliminary design. Multiple teams, instead of simply saying that, hey, our goal is to do this mission, right, they started listing their proudness goals as part of what they want to achieve during the semester in a formal presentation with external people who they have, like engineering professors who are not their immediate instructors. Those were people in the room evaluating these presentations. And these students were listing their proudness goals in that presentation, which was amazing.